good day. Welcome to National Mortgage Advice. My name is David Martinez, and that is Jeff Moore. You can call him at 781-820-1745. Good day, Jeff. How are you today?
I'm excellent today. It's terrific. It's a sunny day out. Life is good, and I'm still having a few laughs.
You still got a few laughs in you?
Yeah, there's no problem.
That's excellent. That's excellent. Today you wanted to talk about your seniors program.
Yes.
So give us some background on it and why you're doing it.
This came out of, again, National Mortgage Advice is a short-term bridge lender. We help people through difficult situations. And the seniors program came out of a discussion over lunch one day. And let me just tell you, basically, seniors may be having some difficulty because of not only the COVID, with the help with their mortgage or their rent, but seniors that own 2, 3, 4 families are having difficulty collecting the rent, or they may be having difficulty collecting the rent.
Good point.
And if you're 62 years old or older, more than likely you bought this 3-family to live in somewhere back in the 60s or 50s, and was very inexpensive, but you've worked your whole life to pay the mortgage down and collect the rent. This is your annuity. And all of a sudden, you're not getting paid for the rent. And the bills are mounting up. And you're trying to figure out, how am I going to pay the mortgage? Because my 3 tenants, they're out of work and they're not paying me mortgage.
Right.
They're not paying my mortgage. They're not paying their rent. And, you know, you're 62 years old. Maybe your wife's passed away. Maybe your husband's passed away. Your son or daughter come over to help you with it. But the house itself is starting to become a real anchor.
Right, and that wasn't the original intent.
And that wasn't the original intention. The intention was, Mom will stay in the house and everything will be wonderful. And Jimmy's the CPA because he went to UMass and, you know, he got his degree and he takes care of Mom's money. He collects the rents, but nobody's paying a rent.
Right.
So now Jimmy and the other brother and the sister have to cough up money out of their own pocket if they're going to pay the mortgage, or if they can.
Right.
And you know, families. Some members of the family can, and some members of the family can't.
Right.
So it creates a lot of stress. So the seniors program, if they're having difficulties, if you're a senior out there and you have a little difficulty, we will buy your house and leave you in it. So Mom can stay on the first floor, okay? And we'll buy the house. We'll fix it up. We'll put the new roof on it. We'll do whatever we have to do. We'll either condo it or we'll rent the other 2 units. But Mom no longer has a mortgage for her unit. And one of the best things is that all of a sudden the house gets spruced up.
Yeah, true.
And you have to remember, most of the time, if you're a senior and you're going to, quote, downsize, or you want to go live with your kids, or you want to, you know, or you're going to be in a nursing home, but not really a nursing home because you don't need a nursing home, but they don't know what else to do with you. And by the way, you've got Gladys 5 houses over. She's been there for 35 years with you. You raised your kids together. And you got Mary Lou on the backside of Gladys, like in a neighborhood like Dorchester or Lowell or Lawrence. And we do have someone that speaks Spanish to help anyone that has a Latin landlord or a Latin mom that's living in the house.
Right.
And they don't want to move out of their neighborhood. They do not want to move out of their neighborhood.
They
This
really
is my
don't.
neighborhood. I don't want to go anywhere. Why do I want to go to that nursing home? I don't want to go there. I don't want to live with you. Your kids are brats, you know. I mean, those are legitimate family discussions.
They already raised their kids.
They already raised their kids. As much as they love being Nana,
Yeah.
okay, they go up, they visit, they drive them crazy, they bring presents, and they leave.
They leave. They want to do it on their
Yeah,
schedule.
how many people our age have you heard say the best part about being a grandparent is I get to leave?
Yeah, that's right.
No,
They don't say the best part is the daycare. I guess.
yeah.
I provide daycare.
You know, the kids love them and they're happy to see them. They don't see them every day.
That's right.
And the grandparents, after they're worn out, they get to leave.
They get to go home.
Right. So a lot of people don't want to move in with their kids.
Right.
And the kids, you know, frankly, as much as they love them and everything, it's an inconvenience for the middle-aged adults to have Their parents living with them.
Yeah, it's their turn to live their lives.
A little bit. So what happens, we will, if you're a senior and you have a cash flow issue, or you'd like to sell your house and not have any bills, we'll buy your house. It's 2 family, 3 family, 4 family. We'll buy that house. We will fix the units and either rent them out ourselves or condo them and sell them.
Oh,
But
okay.
your unit, okay, if you're having real cash flow problems, we'll work something out where perhaps we said we may give you, and I say may because I don't know the circumstances of
Right.
whoever I'm talking to.
They're
at
all
this point.
individual situations.
So we may give you $1,000, $2,000 a month, up to a certain number.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm going to go an example after I broad brush this.
Yeah.
So we'll give you that cash flow. So now you have the cash flow. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
If by chance you pass away and your unit is willed to your 2 sons, well, the difference between what we advanced you and what our predetermined purchase price was, if there's $100,000 in there, we give the kids $100,000, and we pay off the mortgage.
Right.
Okay, so we'll the price that we've predetermined will cover the mortgage that we're giving you, or the cash flow we're giving you, and the balance to your heirs. So, and it sounds a little difficult, but believe me, it's not at all. I mean, not even a full page, a half a page, I can explain this in front of someone.
Really? That's excellent.
So now we're over. Here's the example. We're in Brighton. We're in Brighton, and there's 2 brothers. One of them lives with mom. She's 91, taking care of her, and he's not working. The brother downstairs traditionally has not paid rent for 30 years. There are some argumentative differences between the brothers, and mom's been trying to keep them, somewhat civil for the last 30 years. But mom's run out of money from the husband's insurance policy and her annuity. Mm-hmm. She's 91 years old. That's old. So they're in the process of being foreclosed. Somehow, through an insurance agent, one of the brother taking care of mom gets to us, and he says, "Look, I need to sell the house." I said, "Well, great, but what are you going to do when you sell the house?" I said, "Well, I have to put my mother in a nursing home. Then I have to go buy a house. I have to get an apartment or this, that." And I said, "Well, wait a minute." I said, "Why don't we do this?" And he said, "You can do that?" I said, "Sure." I said, let me buy the house. We'll put mom downstairs. The brother not paying rent, he's gone.
He has to be.
He's
right?
gone.
That's gonna be the deal.
That's my house. It's my house.
And it has value.
Yeah, it's my house. Why do I want him there? He doesn't pay rent.
That's right.
So we evict the brother who's not paid any rent for 30 years. Mm-hmm. And we take care of mom. We bring her downstairs. The apartment's been redone. It's got a pretty good kitchen. It's got nice. She's on the same street.
Yeah.
Okay? The son that's been taking care of her, there's room for him in that apartment. Not a problem. We're going to take the second floor and put in new kitchens, new baths. We're going to sand the floors. We're going to paint the outside of the house. We're going to pop the roof so that there's a condo there. So we get 2 condos. We're going to put thousands of dollars into that house. And it's for profit. We're not doing it because we're humanitarians.
Right.
But we just paid off mom's mortgage. We just paid off the son that has been running the bills up to about $150,000. We paid off the mortgage. We paid off the son's bills. They moved downstairs. It's easier for mom to get in and out of the house. Mm-hmm. And we're going to take over the second floor. We're going to raise the roof and create 2 condos. So it becomes a 3-family. We've already checked with the town. And then we give mom $1,000 a month. She has no bills. The son goes back to work. She has no bills. She gets $1,000 a month. And we have a predetermined price to buy her unit when she passes.
Right.
And the difference goes to the son. Now, he didn't like that idea at first until he started to do the math. Because if he gets foreclosed, somebody comes in and buys that mortgage.
Yeah.
And the mortgage is probably 20% of what he wants for the whole house. And frankly, he's pricing the house as if the condos had already been rehabbed. So he's way overpriced.
We all think our stuff's worth more.
Yeah, it's worth more because he owns it.
Right.
You know. In the meantime, we recommended a lawyer to represent him. He talked to 3 different lawyers. He has a lawyer now, and we're going to do the deal. But it's great for him because now his mom's always got food, clothing, and shelter. We're not charging her an HOA. There's no condo fee on her unit. We've got 2 other units to sell, and in the end, we're going to do okay. It's just another piece. It's just another piece of property.
Yeah.
In our portfolio,
Right.
and they're well taken care of.
And it kind of gets them out of a situation that could have gotten worse.
David, it's a $850,000, $900,000 house. Legitimately, he's looking for 1.1. And there's only a $280,000 mortgage on it.
Wow.
But they haven't paid it in over 8 months, and no bank wants to foreclose on a 91-year-old widow.
Right. Bad look.
Excuse me.
Got another one?
So that's a situation that we can help with. If you are a senior and you are having cash flow difficulties, call me. Not my associate, not some salesperson. Call me directly at 781-820-1745.
Yeah, and when you do call, you get him. You don't get a receptionist, a secretary. You don't get stuck in voicemail for weeks.
No.
You go directly to the man that can help you.
Right. And that's, I have a breakfast meeting from 7 until 8, so I'm available to be safe, 8:30 until 8 o'clock at night.
And you will call people back.
I will call them back. The only thing I ask is that if you text, don't expect me to respond immediately because I'm on the phone 4,000 minutes a month, and my text does not break through to the phone call. So the best thing to do is to call, and I will say, I'll send you I'll call you back later. What's your name? I'm sorry. Please call back. I'll send you something. And then when I get off the phone call that I'm on, I look at my phone because it's an Android. I'm old. I have an Android, not an iPad. I look at the phone and it says, Dave called.
Right.
I go, I got to call that guy back. Bang. Right then and there, I call him back. Okay? I don't wait for the secretary list of who do I have to call back at 3:45 in the afternoon. So that's how you get in touch with me at 781-820-1745.
And the seniors program.
Program.
You just started it, and you've already got a couple examples of success stories.
Absolutely.
But you can help all kinds of people. You just need to tell the listener, you need to tell Jeffrey the story. Because like you said, everyone's got a story. Every family has a story. And you have all the experience and knowledge, and you can help.
Well, part of the experience and knowledge, David, comes from the the adage that I'm old, so I've made some mistakes. The financial battle scars, the physical battle scars, they're here, and it's not because we can see where the traps are, so it comes down.
That's a good way to explain it. That's a good way to explain it. So when you sit down with someone, a senior, and maybe the family, and maybe not, just sitting down with them, you're able to talk to them one-on-one. They know that you're the decision maker, right? You're the guy that they need to talk to. You're not going to 4 levels above you and getting back to them in 3 weeks. You can kind of get things moving pretty quickly on this typical deal.
We can move forward very quickly. I mean, there's in this particular scenario, I have one other investor and myself, and that investor has 35 years experience as a mortgage attorney.
Wow.
He was for 35 years. He was the mass mortgage attorney for Massachusetts, that organization, and he had at one point 22 law offices closing loans for him
Wow.
In 5 states.
So a little bit of experience.
So he's got some experience, probably over a quarter of a million in closings. So we're quite familiar with boundaries, with obligations of the town, reservations of the town, reservations of the neighbors, and how to overcome those objections so that everybody's happy.
So what is the process like when you said condo, one of the units? Is that a complicated process, and that's something you would
Not
take
for
care of?
us.
Right.
Not for us. It's we've done it so many times. You know, we have a surveyor come out. It's rather amazing, actually. They walk around with a digital measuring device and lay out the rooms, and we get the filing, and the legal filings are done. They're pretty standard, and you know, it's pretty simple if you know what you're doing.
Right.
You know, and we know what we're doing.
Yeah.
You know, we don't know everything, but we know that.
Yeah, but if you don't know something, you'll at least recognize it, and you'll go find out.
We have we have access to the experience.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, you got a guy, right? That's
right.
the whole "you got a guy" thing.
It's we got a guy for everything in real estate.
That's right.
We got a guy for everything in real estate.
Absolutely.
You know, if I'm going to go to real estate in downtown Boston, then I'm going to talk to John Brazilian. You know, he's over on Boylston Street, and John I've known since I was 24 years old, and we were both buying property on Nantucket. Very, very smart guy. If I'm going to buy property out in Framingham or out in Essex County or this or that, then I go to David Hadlock.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if I've got a really good sized deal, you know, I'd go over to Enterprise Bank with Ross Grifkin. Ross is out of New York City. He's seen some very convoluted deals. He's very concise, very quick. So we have the access to the experience. I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and good judgment. And you know, I mean, what did Dean Martin say? Good judgment comes from experience. Well, how do you get the experience? Well, you get the experience from poor judgment.
Yeah.
And that's why.
And being around, I mean, you know,
Yep,
you have to have some miles on those bones.
Yeah, you've been around it, and that's why a lot of the older fellows, you know, you say, well, yeah, you know, you're not trying very hard, you're not moving very hard. Well, don't look at how fast they move or how fast they talk. Look about the closed transactions. How many of those have they got?
Yeah, that's true.
You know, nobody gets paid unless the checks are written, and that includes the seller, the buyer, the contractor, the mason.
Everybody.
Everybody.
It all hinges upon that. So that's the seniors program. You can call National Mortgage Advice. It's 781-820-1745. Jeffrey, you wanted to touch on bridge loans. Talk about what define it for us first.
A bridge loan typically, we'll do the auction scenario. The auction scenario is you say, well, I really like that house, and I just want to go and take a look at it and see what it's going to go for. So you go out to Winchester, or you go out to Lexington, or you go to Malden, you go to Melrose. Excuse me. And you go to the auction, and you know the house is worth $500,000 to you, or maybe $1 million to you, and the house he starts off at $200,000, and the banker's auctioneer starts at $200,000, and somebody raises their hand. The auction gets up to like $275, and then it stops. And you're saying, why is it stopping? Well, somebody's done their homework, and they've realized that the auctioneer and the banker, they're only obligated to get 71% of the indebtedness. So whatever 275 is 71% of, they've covered the shareholders' acceptable loss.
Right.
On the foreclosure and the auction.
Right.
So the smart guys in the audience are going, we're not paying any more than that because we don't have to.
Why pay more?
Right. Why pay more?
That's right.
And you're standing there and going, well, wait a minute. It's worth more than $271,000 or $275,000. And you say, well, I'll pay $290. And everybody looks at you and says, what are you, out of your mind,
What,
pal?
are you crazy?
Now you don't know that all you have to pay is $271.
Okay.
But
275, right?
275 because it's 71% of the indebtedness.
Sure.
So the two guys that do this every day, day in and day out, they're looking at each other going, well, I'll go $5 more grand, maybe he won't go there. Well, all of a sudden you step in and go, I'll go 290. So one of the other guys says 295. No, you say 300. Make a long story short, you wind up with it. So you've given them their $10,000 check, okay, as a non-refundable to hold it.
Right.
And you've got to come up with $300,000. You got 29 days.
Who are you going to call?
Yeah, you got 29 days to do it. So you go down to your bank because, of course, you're a good guy with the bank. Everybody loves you, this or that. And the bank says, yeah, no problem. Put in an application. 2 days later, you get your application in. Then they say, okay, we'll take a look at it. You just missed the weekly meeting. So now you got to wait another 7 days before they take a look at it. They go, yeah, we think we can do this. Here's a list of what we need. We need the 2 years tax returns. We need the bank. We need your bank statements. We'll take those here. We need a copy of the purchase and sale. We need a copy of the taxes.
Meanwhile, the clock is ticking.
Tick tock, tick tock.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden, you no longer have 29 days. You got 21.
Oof.
And they say, well, when I'm running out here. I don't think I can get it extended because there were two other guys that wanted to step in. And the auctioneer's obligated to get the highest and best.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So now the banker says, well, we'll close this out in 60 days. He goes, 60 days is too long. I showed you here's the agreement from the auctioneer. I need the money now. And he said, well, we can't do that. Why don't you go see Jeffrey?
Yeah.
So
now, you had literally have people that work at banks that know you that could recommend it.
Bankers send me transactions all the time because I don't have a drive-through. I don't want their deposits. I don't have any financial services. I'm going to try and sell them and move their accounts to me.
Right.
They say, well, go see Jeffrey for 6 months, and he may, because they can't recommend because now they have liability. But what they'll say in the email is he may be able to help you, and that's the communication between myself and the banker and the borrower. That yeah, I may be able to help you.
Right.
I'm not going to until I hear the story.
Yeah.
I can't. I don't know.
I was going to say you can't help anyone unless you get details from them on their story. And if they have 21 days, they have time to tell you the story because you can turn it around really quickly.
I can turn it around in 15 days, and I also I don't need the detail that the bank needs. This is a bridge loan. All I'm doing is getting you from one side of the river to the other side of the river.
Right.
I'm getting you from this side of the river over to where you're on the other side of the transaction and you have what you need. Mm-hmm. Now, you can wait the 60 days for the bank and you own the property right. So whatever interest rate you might be paying to me is really rather negligible for 3 to 4 months. And, obviously we get points on occasion. So it could be 8%, it could be 10%, it could be 12%, it could be 8% and 4 points, which is actually 12% money annually. But the reality is that this is why people use bridge money, because the cost they're saving is well worth the money that might be paying for the short-term interest,
right?
The short-term loan. And that happens, and especially in hot markets. I was extremely busy 5 years ago in East Boston when people were putting down minimum amount to put down and trying to buy 2 and 3 houses at a time. Oof. Right now, Lynn is extremely hot.
Is it really?
Lynn is very, very hot. The public transportation is good. Revere is there are certain sections of Revere that are there. The condos along the beach, they're paying a lot more attention to the beach, Revere Beach. Revere Beach is the first municipal beach in the country, and it's absolutely beautiful. For years they didn't take care of it, and I couldn't understand why.
Yeah, no, I don't get it.
Now they're starting to, and they go out and they rake, and they have the sand castles. They've got this, that. They've cleaned up upriver. There's still a little bit of debris and some after a very big rainstorm. It's not as pleasant on the beach as you might think.
Right.
because of the debris coming out of the off the streets and everything else.
But it's improved dramatically.
Oh,
which makes
dramatically.
everything better, right? It makes everything worth more.
If you've had 2 sunny days, I'd go in the water at Revere.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the day after a rainstorm, I don't think so.
Yeah, not so much.
You know, but the areas in the outlying are very, 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 very busy. Bellingham is another area,
Right.
way down by Rhode Island. They've got big houses and big yards down there with big families and cul-de-sacs and basketball hoops in the middle of the cul-de-sac, and everybody knows everybody else. It's like
Yeah.
it's like the reverse of a Dorchester neighborhood.
Right. That's
You
right.
know, a little further to yell from door to door than it is in Dorchester or Quincy, but it's people want to be out of the city.
Yeah. That is
And
true.
I think they're saying now that 61% of the people in this country, or over 51% of the people in this country are under 44 years old.
Wow. And
So
they don't
there are a
wanna
lot
be
of
in the
people that
cities as
need some
much?
houses. And
Yeah.
in my age group, frankly, they're getting rid of the big house in Wayland and Weston and Newton,
Right.
and they're moving into a condo. And then in the winter, they go down, they lock up the condo for the summer condo, and they move down to Florida, they move down to North Carolina,
Yeah.
or South Carolina, or they move out to the Blue Hills.
Which you could do too.
I could, but I like doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I like, you know what, I like sitting in New England with the fire, with a book.
I love the fire.
And I like to cook.
Yeah.
So for me to start my evening at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the winter is not a bad thing.
Yeah. I love a fire. Nice
Yeah.
fireplace.
Is not a bad thing.
So the bridge loan will help someone, and you can do it in a short period of time. And do banks stay away from bridge loans? Do they do bridge loans?
Well, they'll do bridge loans, but what happens is they take a long time to set up.
They do.
You have $1 million piece of property that you have a $300,000 mortgage on, and you go back in to say you're going to see my friend Fred, and you say, Fred, can I get an equity line on my commercial property? He says, well, how about a line of credit against your property? Because equity lines are mostly for primary homes and such. And they say, we'll give you a line of credit as long as we know what you're buying. You can't go out and buy a Maserati.
Right.
You know, this equity line is strictly for real estate. So he gives you an equity line for $500. You've got what did I say? $300,000 mortgage. So that's $800, and you got $1 million piece of property. Okay, maybe he gives you an equity. Maybe he gives you a credit line for $400. So the banks now they're into it for $700,000. That makes them comfortable. 70% loan to value, and you've got a checkbook for $400,000. So when you do find something like an auction, you go to your checkbook and you write the check for
Yeah.
the $400,000, and you don't need me.
That's awesome.
But reality is, life happens, the world happens, and very few people are that organized.
It's true.
Very few people, and opportunity shows up. You don't, just because you're organized, you don't drive the opportunity.
Right.
The opportunity drives you.
Certainly.
So that's the situation, and that's why people get involved with us, because we save them money, and we bring a lot of experience to the table, and we also help them achieve their dream while we're being conservative.
Yeah, that's a good point. Good point. You're looking out for your people, but you're also getting deals done, which I think is part of your passion.
I love getting deals done.
Yeah.
I love getting deals done. I don't need what I thought I needed when I was 40, so my particular lifestyle is a lot less.
Yeah.
I no longer have a couple houses on Nantucket. I can't surf anymore. My cardiologist tells me I can't do helicopter snowboarding any longer in
Yeah, that's
Canada.
bad. Yeah.
So I like doing deals.
Perfect. Well, how do people do a deal with you? How do they get in touch with you?
They get in touch with us through our website, National Mortgage Advice or NM Advice. You can go on the YouTube and look at our podcast. You can call 781-820-1745, and you speak directly to me from 8:30 in the morning till about 8 o'clock at night.
Talk to the man.
And if you don't get me, call Because if you text me, I'm on the phone 4,000 minutes a month. My texts do not break through to my phone calls. But
Give
my
them a
phone
call.
calls will register, and I'll look at my screen and see the last 10 phone calls. And if I don't know you, whatever, I've got, frankly, I have, since I've been here, we have had calls.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he will get back to you.
I've got to call Jody Thompson. I'm looking at my phone right now. I've got to call Jody Thompson in New York. I've got to call. Let me see. Keypad recents. I've got to call Kevin Childs over in Lynn. I've got to call somebody from Lowell. I got to call Jonathan Santiago at home. So I've had 4 calls while I was here.
Right. And you'll get back to them.
And now I have a list of them. In the text, I don't know whether I got a text or not. I have no idea.
So make a phone call and leave them a message. National
Correct.
Mortgage Advice, 781-820-1745. Jeffrey, thanks so much for being on. We'll see you next time.
Terrific. I enjoyed it. See you next time.